Welcome back to our live coverage here at Inforce. I'm Ian Mckay, a host here on AWS On Air, dev advocate as well. Joined by Farrah Campbell. Tell the people about yourself, Farrah, please.
Well, my name is not Ben today. I'm back to Farrah.
Yeah, you're back to
Farrah. So my name is Farrah
I
Campbell.
thought you were going to say my name is not Farrah, and I was like, your name is Farrah. You got me there for a minute. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
try to keep you on your toes.
You always do. You always do.
But yeah, no, I'm Farrah. I'm Farrah.
Okay, we've got one of my, these are my favorite segments to do. I'm not allowed to say that, but I'm going to say it anyway, because all our segments are equal, and I love them all. Like they're my children, but this is my favorite child, you know? I love the hero segments because you all are the best. The best. Incredible.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I do. I'm saying it for you.
I do.
Well, thank you.
We've got Ian and Aidan. Ian, let's start with you. Tell the people about you.
Sure, my name's Ian Mckay. I'm an AWS Community Hero and Ambassador. I come from Sydney, Australia.
Very nice.
And I'm Aidan. I'm an AWS Serverless Hero, and I come from Melbourne, Australia.
Okay, okay. Ian, I didn't know if I knew that you were also an ambassador.
That's right, yeah.
That's very cool. I'm in the partner network as well, so nice, very nice. Do you want to talk a little bit about maybe your partner, or do we want to just move into vulnerability reporting like we're going to talk about?
No, that's fine. I work for a partner called Kablamo in Australia. They do everything full stack development, so everything from backend, front end, QA, the entire suite of products. So we get a really good exposure to a wide range of customers, so fintechs or energy sector or anything else like that. So we get a lot of different ranges of problems that we get to solve for our customers.
I love it. That's great. And Aidan, we'll give you time to plug some stuff too, I promise. Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
Thank you.
So we're here. Look, we're all vulnerable. Some of us are more vulnerable than others. You know, I've shared secrets with you all. I've shared secrets with the audience. Now, with that in mind, right, we have a vulnerability reporting system here at AWS, and that's what we're here to talk about. Ian, since you just talked, let's go to Aidan. You want to tell us a little bit about that vulnerability reporting service here?
I mean, sure. You know, as developers know all too well, we occasionally make mistakes. Sometimes they have security implications.
Do we ever own up to those mistakes, though? That's
not as often as we should. Not as often as I should. And you know, we want, you know, Amazon, like a lot of companies, wants to make it as straightforward as possible to report those mistakes in a way that they'll go to the right people and actually get fixed.
So I didn't know we actually had a team that did this. So if I'm new to this and I find something and I want to report it, how do I go about doing that?
Well, you'd be surprised at how relatively low-tech it is. You send an email.
Oh, wow.
It's
okay.
AWS-security@amazon.com, and tell them what's up. There's no special format you need to follow. You just send them an email, tell them what you think the problem is, tell them where you think the problem is, and they'll get back to you.
I think a lot of people find it weird to expose that sort of information very publicly, but it's something that AWS provides to make sure that both your customers and their customers are secure in the way that they work. So you can report anything from as trivial as like a small misconfiguration that might not be exploitable, all the way up to something as massive as like a Log4j style problem, right? So all this is exposed under safe harbor provision, which means you can, if you're being responsible and resolving it in good faith, AWS aren't going to come after you legally and things like that, and make sure that, you know, if you're doing the right thing and you're responsibly disclosing, then everyone's happy and everyone's safe.
I mean, this is an interesting evolution as we look through the history of security, right? For a long time, security was in secret, closed doors. You know, we can take a page out of the encryption algorithms. You know, none of it was published. Nobody knew how it worked, that type of thing. And then gradually, you know, over the decades, we've gotten this more open security in the open, right? Which benefits us all.
Exactly.
I think that's what, especially people new to security or outside the security world, they don't realize, right? Because, especially if you're a developer, open source has been, you know, a big boon to the industry for a long time now. And security, it's there, right? But it's still gradually getting more and more open, right? Because it's been this kind of, well, we don't talk about our security posture because that makes us more vulnerable, which is actually counterintuitive, right? That it makes you more vulnerable to be closed.
Yeah. Exactly.
Have you all experienced that too?
Yeah, absolutely. In the world of things like open source and such services like that, we need to make sure that we're all cooperating in this space. And both myself and Aidan have used the vulnerability disclosure program
nice.
to raise these issues and get the feedback. And it's really simple. The team behind the vulnerability disclosure program will come back to you in a 24-hour SLA. So they've actually put their own SLAs on their own team to make sure that they try and service these customers and these security researchers in a very quick way. If they need to get back to you, they have their own SLA on recurring feedback. So every 5 days, they'll give you an update and say, look, we're still working on this and things like that. Eventually, they're going to get to the point where they will have a resolution for you. And once they have a resolution and it's all rolled out, they'll also work with you to do coordinated disclosure. So if there's a blog post or something else, something public you want to tweet, what they want to do is make sure that both them and yourself are mutually disclosing at the same time, so everyone's on the same page.
Yeah.
That's really cool, actually. I mean, like, you're getting
Yes.
updates and they're keeping you involved in the process, and kind of helping to move it along.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget that, as wide as AWS is, there's a human team that are really kind and really helpful throughout that process, and they have the unfortunate responsibility. They have to talk to any service team under AWS, which is a long team, right? So they're probably like the most connected team under the AWS banner.
They know everyone.
They know everyone. So they're really helpful. They're really kind, and they're just trying to make things work for you.
Speaking of knowing everyone, we've got a troll in chat. Goes by the name of Richard Boyd. You may know him.
Yes.
I've heard of him.
He's asked,
Sigh.
can I report Aidan for abusing my APIs?
So
I wouldn't.
the scope of the
great.
vulnerability program covers AWS Cloud Services and open source projects. So if you have your own customer-facing APIs and things like that, that's not covered. If you want to report abuse against AWS AWS endpoints, so things like spam and things like that, there's a separate process for that.
Okay.
So this is just covering the AWS Cloud Services and the open source projects that AWS have. So you don't want to go into a GitHub issue and say, look, there's a bug or whatever. So they want to be able to fix it in a professional way.
Thank you for taking Richard's chaos and turning it into an actual informative answer.
Not the first time.
Yeah, and it won't be your last.
It definitely won't be the last.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Ian, while you're talking, you mentioned security researchers, right? And so I did a stint at a security company called Tenable.
Yep.
And this was the first time I was exposed to security researchers. I hadn't really worked with them directly prior. And it's actually like fascinating to me what these people do, right? Like, they're sitting out there trying to find exploits before the people who could use them maliciously find them and report them. That's their job. Like, it's pretty incredible. The whole, I got introduced to the CVE process and MITRE and all these things. Like, this is not a foreign concept of reporting vulnerabilities, right? This is not something novel, really, that AWS went and created. There's a lot of processes for a lot of companies that follow this. Do you know much about the security research space, either of you, Aidan or Ian?
Well, actually, that's a good point. I wanted to mention, we've been talking about security researchers.
Yeah.
Ian's talked about how kind the team is. I never consider myself a security researcher. I consider myself a developer. And so, I wasn't very confident the first time I was reporting an issue. I thought, am I allowed to do this?
Right.
Am I the right sort of person to be reporting it? And it turns out anyone can report an issue. If you find something that you're not even that confident about, you think, this seems a little weird, no one's going to bite your head off. They'll explain to you, yes, we think that's an issue, or no, that's not an issue because of X, Y, Z, and you don't get kicked out of the program. You can email them again in the future. I've reported issues that did turn out to be issues and things that weren't issues, and they're always very helpful either way.
I love it. Now, we're almost at time, and I promised you, and anything you'd like to tell the audience about in your own personal work?
I don't think so. I mostly make silly open source projects on GitHub that use AWS APIs in ridiculous ways.
Well, tell us about one of them, please. You're too modest.
What's one of them?
Let's hear about Flowdog.
I made one where it was a VPC accelerator. It did stupid things. It was like a time machine. It made your pings turn negative. Not a vulnerability, just a waste of time.
Yeah,
but
of course.
That's my vibe.
That's mine too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check this out. I love it. Well, we're at time, Farah. Unfortunately, we gotta wrap.
It's sad.
These things go by too fast.
Way too fast.
Ian, Aidan, thank you so much for
Thank you.
being here.
Thanks for having
We
us.
appreciate you. We'll be right back with more content here on AWS On Air.